Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to solve another Leetcode problem, the 1108, Defanging an IP address. As usual, what we're going to do first is to just copy this statement of the problem and all the description and paste it in our REPL so that we can just test the code we write. Okay. As usual, remember we're following a process, and the first step is to read the problem and restate the problem in our own words so that we're sure we understood what has been asked for to get done. Alright? Then we just check all the examples to see if we are understanding the output that the program should just return in terms of the function we're going to write. Then we define the data or understand the data input and output. We write the algorithm and then we write the code. So let's start by understanding the problem. Given a valid IPv4 IP address, return a defanged version of that IP address. A defanged IP address replaces every period with a period in between square brackets. Okay, let's see the examples. If you have an input of 1.1.1, you get it? You replace every point by points in between square brackets. Alright, this is a pretty simple problem, but even if it's a simple problem, it's a good idea to restate the problem in your own words to see if you really understand that. At the end, what we need to do is to return a string where return a string from an original string received as an argument where you have replaced every point character by square bracket point square bracket character, right? That's the problem we need to solve. Good. Reading the examples, we see that the input data we have, or the kind of data, type of data is a string, and the output, it's also a string. The output that we're expecting when executing this function, this program, is a string too. Then the algorithm. Remember that algorithm is the step-by-step that you're going to follow so that you, given a specific input, you return the right output. As in every case, there are several ways to solve the same problem. So to make it sure today, I'm going to use the built-in method for the strings. There is the method replace, and to use this method you need to understand regular expressions. A regular expression is not more than a pattern that you define, and you just compare that pattern or try to match that pattern to a string. Once you have that pattern match or not, you can return something. So in this case, what we're going to do is to use replace to match every single point and replace that point character or every point character by square bracket point square bracket, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define a variable called pattern, and assign a new regex object to it. This regex receive two parameters. First is the regular expression that we want to match. That in this case would be the point, but remember that point is special character in regular expression. So we escape the character, the special character, so that our program really match the point character and not it doesn't try to use the special character. So to really match a point in a regular expression, you need to escape the point. And also the global flag, if you remember, there are several flags when using regular expressions, but the global flag allows us to find every match of that pattern in a string, not only the first one. Check it out. Remember, we can just go to the shell and open node session here, and I'm gonna do this experiment, fast experiment. I'm gonna define a pattern, right? And I'm gonna create a new object of the regular expression. This is for the JavaScript API, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna escape the point and also pass as a second argument. Remember, you can pass as arguments the flags. So the global flag is the G. Remember the global flag, I just said, but I'm gonna repeat it so that you remember. The global flag allow us to match all the every single time that this point in this case appears in the given string is going to match it, not only the first occurrence, right? And if I have let's say a string with this 1.1.1.1, right, and I want to replace all those characters, what I can do is to use replace. So let's see, object to it, then I'm gonna return the returned value from replacing every single point by bracket, square bracket, square bracket. So let's see if this works. Replace, this is a built-in method for strings. You pass as a first argument a regular expression pattern, and as a second argument just the replacement for that pattern. Let's see what happened here. Look, so the value returned but replaced is exactly what we need. We can compare it here, so our algorithm will work. All right, so let's just copy the same name of the function that we have at Leetcode, and as usual I recommend you to use console log to see the results of every single example. We're gonna call the function with the specific arguments for each test case we have. So here we have the input for the first example, and here we have the input for the second example. You can see that in this problem they frame the problem that in terms of the IPv4 address, and this add a little bit more of complexity because it focuses your attention on what is an IP address. But at the end, you don't even need to know what an IP address is. I mean, as a coder you should, but in terms of to solve the problem, you don't need it, because at the end, if we restate here, any string that they pass what you need to do is to replace the point by these other square brackets, right? And then we have expected output here and expected output here. We're gonna just write the code this point, right? So this is not gonna change, so we can use the const keyword, and we're gonna create the regex pattern variable. Remember to escape the point so that you're telling the program that you refer to the point character, not the special character for regular expressions. And then it says we just did this line just right. This is just the implementation of this part of the algorithm. Define a variable called pattern and assign a new regex object to it. This regex has this as an argument, and also use a global flag. This is the global flag, right? And then it says return the return value from replacing every single point, right? So to do that, remember that here our string to find the pattern is the argument passed to the function that is being assigned to the variable address, right? So here on address will be the color of the replace string method, and here we're gonna pass as first argument the pattern, and as second argument the character that's gonna be used for replacement, and this should return what we expect. Let's see, let's go back to the console. Pattern is not defined. This is a common error. This is an error because pattern is not defined. I'm missing an N, pattern, right? And we have the outcome we were expecting for every case. Now we just copy our code and run the test in Leetcode platform. Good. Run the code. Great. And submit. Good. Every test passed. As always, there are several ways to solve the same problem. So try out or try to find another ways to solve this problem, and just leave a comment or share with your peers. Remember that writing code and all this process of understanding the problem, understanding the data input and the data that is expected as an output, and writing the step-by-step of the algorithm, and then writing your code is a very efficient process, so that you develop the logic and you strengthen your brain muscles to write better code.